back from the California Custom Knife Show with a bunch of cool stuff from CJRB and Artisan, and I think this is one of my favorite knives they've done in a long time. This thing is a Pinkerton design. It's amazing. It's coming in as a budget. I absolutely love it. So let's turn it around and take a look at the CJRB resource designed by Dirk Pinkerton. Guys, let me apologize in advance for my voice. I have been fighting something, have not felt good. This is an awesome knife. So this is the Dirk Pinkerton Design Resource by CJRB. Today's the first day I've carried it. I haven't carried it a lot. I had a really busy morning, so I didn't get to do a lot of testing with this. But the testing I did do, this thing is really good. So this is done by CJRB. It's an AR-RPM 9 steel and G10. Now, I do know there's again a couple people that I did a short about this when it first showed up before I did the actual carry and stuff. And they were saying it looks cheap. And I think that has a lot to do with this is a green G10 version. And the green G10 just never looks as good as some of the others on film, but this thing is great. So you're looking at a really nice, I'm looking at this, it's well over 9 inches on my mat. It's probably closer to 9.5. It's a 9.5-inch knife-ish with a nice, I want to say it's a drop point, but the spine on this is really straight. So it's got a very slight drop. Lots of flat on this and a big belly. This thing is done in AR-RPM 9 steel. CJRB has got some of the smoothest budget knives you're going to find out there. So the action on this is just incredible. I actually like flipping off the fuller more than I like flipping off the thumb studs. But you do have double-sided thumb studs. This is done with a G10 handle and liner locks. It does have a reversible pocket clip, and the pocket clip on this for a knife this big is just about perfect. So there's kind of your quick overview. Now, the fullers on this don't go all the way through, and they're not real deep. So when you get on it, oh, I missed it. I keep getting my fingers in the wrong spot. When you get on it, you can really, it's really surprising that you can get a flip out of it with that, considering that's a big blade. It is a relatively thick blade stock, but like all of the Pinkerton designs I've ever had come in, it comes down really thin. This thing is just terrifying sharp. AR-RPM 9 seems to come with a factory edge that is just amazing. Every once in a while, you'll have a CJRB or an Artisan that has a little bit of a burr from the factory, but it's really easy to deburr it. And once you do the deburring, I had to do it on this one. Once you deburr it on a leather strop, just a raw leather strop, it is just a nightmare-inducing sharp. This thing screams through everything because it does have a very thin profile. And the way the handles are done, you got really good control of this. This is a big knife, but it doesn't feel unwieldy. It doesn't feel too big. I've said this a bunch of times. Sometimes when you have a big knife, when you start getting farther from the pivot, you start to lose some control. But I think the fact is that the majority of the cutting you're going to do is in this area of the knife. That's what makes it feel so well controlled. And then Dirk's designs always are ergonomic, crazy ergonomic. Such as this, oops, not that one, this knife right here, that's done by Terramundi Knives, by Beyond EDC, which right now you can get 40% off. Use my coupon code CrazySharp, all one word, lowercase. This is just ridiculously thin behind the edge. I don't think I've seen a Pinkerton design that I did not like, and this is also the case. Handles on this are contoured, but they're contoured in a fashion where you get this step pattern, which not only is, it fills your hand really well, but it's also got some tactility. You've got some additional traction, but they're not sharp. They just are enough to get you some good traction on that. And when you've got big hands on a big knife and you wrap all the way around like that, you can just feel it there. So not only do I have some traction here, I got some traction on the pad of those fingers, and then you're up on it like this and you could just really power through stuff. This would be a knife that I would take camping with me. You've got a relatively long pocket clip, so it doesn't walk around very much. This is out of character for me. I dig this longer pocket clip. Typically, I would say it's too long, it catches on things, but I haven't had that issue yet. And they radius the pocket clip so that it kind of matches the contours of the knife, so it sits in your pocket nice and cleanly. This will carry pretty far forward in the pocket, even though it's a big knife. And then, like I said, palm swell here, raised up here area at the heel. You've got a finger twirl there. It just just meets everything I would want. This reminds me of a fixed blade, but done as a folding knife. So access to the lock bar, one of the last things I wanted to mention, access to the lock bar is great. And then the thumb studs on this are placed really well. You can reverse flick off the thumb studs, but on a big knife like this, I just find myself enjoying flicking further down because it just drops into that natural grip. So like any other knife that I've ever had on the channel, I have found a couple things I don't like about it. A couple of them are just aesthetic. One of them is just a thing that I just don't dig. But we'll talk about that right after you guys get back from hearing from this video's sponsor. Guys, I like to keep these little sponsor ads a little shorter than other channels, but it's kind of hard when you get into the dull strong knife stuff because they have such a broad, wide variety of knives. They have got some of the coolest looking kitchen knives you're going to want to find, but when it comes down to basics, all their knives are super functional. This is their Gladiator 8-inch chef's knife. It is probably one of the best chef's knife I've ever handled, and I've handled a lot of much more expensive ones. So if you want to check them out, support the channel, there's a link down below. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout, but they've been kind enough to provide me with a portion of your orders. So you know you're going to use kitchen knives anyway, you may as well check them out. So now let's turn this around and get back to the video. So the couple of negative things, let's look at the aesthetic part of it first. So the fuller that comes down transects the grind line. I really wish that this had been just a full flat grind all the way to the spine and then had the fuller cut in. I think that would have been a lot more attractive. You can see how it kind of goes into the grind. And then what happens when you have that is the fuller thins out at the front, and it just, I don't like the way it looks because it gets thin and then it gets thick again. So you can see how it's thin there. And then when you get back up here, it thickens back up. You got like a low spot where the grind cuts through it. I'm not such a fan of that. The other thing about the fuller is you can see that they did the stone wash after the fuller was cut in, and you can see there's spots where the stones couldn't get down in here. And so you got a difference in finish. I think it would have been better looking if they had done a full flat grind, then stone wash, then cut the fuller in, and you'd have kind of that milled area in there. Next thing, the jimping on it is it's not really good. You've got some jimping. It's okay. I would have wanted this to be a little bit more aggressive. And I've said this about a lot of the CJRB knives. I think that they are doing some steps to, and I do understand it's cost saving, but they're doing steps in a specific manner because of the way they're doing it. But it just, when you tumble this to get that really fine stone wash or that good stone wash, they're just knocking the edges off this jimping, and it's not as functional as I would want. Next thing, the lockup on it is not bad, but this one, I mean, this one was not handpicked. I grabbed this one off the table at the knife show up at California Custom Knife Show. So, you know, this wasn't handpicked. So it could just be that that's every once in a while one, but the lockup is just at about 50%, which I don't think it's going to be an issue. I've got several knives that have been at 50% for the lifetime I've owned the knife. It's not been an issue. Next thing, I can feel the pocket clip. I said the pocket clip was kind of big. I can feel the pocket clip flex because it's long. That's just a me thing. Like, I don't like the way it feels when I bear down on the knife. I can feel it bend and flex. So as much as I like the pocket clip, I think it's because it's so long, it does that. So I can probably overlook that, but it's just something I've noticed this first day when I was really bearing down. I can feel that I'm deforming the pocket clip. And then the last thing is, you got this big knife, you got plenty of room in the backspacer to put a lanyard post. Why you're putting a lanyard hole in here, not just because it's ugly, but because the fact is I've got big hands, and when I'm holding this knife and I'm holding it to really bear down, it's sharp on that edge. I can definitely feel it. You can see I'm in it with that finger and I can feel it. And if you were doing a lot of cutting, that could become irritating. So the last final thing I could say is I kind of wish the fuller was a little bit deeper. It would, because I like flipping off the fuller. I definitely do. I like reverse flicking off the fuller as opposed to repositioning. I think if it was a little bit deeper, it would be a little bit easier. But all in all, is this a yup or not? I do. I love this knife. I'm digging it. I have not found a Pinkerton design I have not liked yet. So we'll see if any of my opinions change on these things over the course of the next couple weeks. This is here. This is mine. I can take as long as I want. So I'm going to do some heavy testing on this because all I did was cut up just a little bit of cardboard so far, but it is just absolutely a laser beam when you're trying to cut cardboard. So let's go ahead, turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. Guys, this thing is absolutely a beast, and it is such a good cutter. I love the fact that companies are doing much thinner behind the edge profiles. People have realized that those super thick behind the edge, like chopping knives, they don't do well for day-to-day tasks. It's easier to maintain. It's easier to use a thinner blade. And this thing is just absolutely a screamer when you're cutting through cardboard. So we're going to carry this. I'm going to get a full review on it. I absolutely love having this in pocket. This thing's great. So stay tuned to see more. I know I threw an ad in. If you guys want to support the channel, I do have sponsors. Coffee Brand Coffee, Tempered Trail, Doll Strong Knives are all down there. Coffee Brand Coffee and Tempered Trail have got a discount built into their links, but you can also use coupon code Crazy Sharp, all one word, lowercase. You can use them there to save 10%. You can also save 40% at Beyond EDC Knives right now through the month of December. I'll make sure I put a link in the description below to that as well. You guys can also use any of my vendor links down below, Vosteed Knives, Knife Ship Free, GP Knives. Those all support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout. It's the same with my Amazon store. Take that link, pin it to your browser. Join the public Discord that I've got down below. You can get in and have fun. We all communicate. We post up stuff, pocket drop stuff, knife chat. I've also got a membership that's all tier based. It has its own private Discord. There are giveaways that I do for the baseline and premium guys, but I do exclusive content for everyone. I also have a sharpening tutorial series for the premium guys, the top tier members. So guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.